Hello and welcome to Native Yoga Center. I'm Todd McLaughlin, and today I want to point out some tips and tricks on how to practice Navasana, the boat pose. In ashtanga yoga, we have a posture called Navasana. Navasana is where we attempt to balance on our hips with a relative straight leg position, a relative straight spine position, and hold our arms, not here, but about here, parallel to the floor. So a great abdominal strengthening exercise, help us strengthen our six-pack muscle, the rectus abdominis. Also, we'll be using the transverse abdominis, our deepest layer of abdominal musculature that helps to seal the internal contents close to the spine. And just a great way to basically tone and strengthen our hip flexors and our abdomen. So the first thing, you need to sit. You got to come down onto the floor and be able to sit. In ashtanga yoga, we enter the pose via a vinyasa from a down dog. There's the inhale, walk or jump through, and come right into Navasana, boat pose. Now, sometimes people have suffered tailbone injuries, and it's quite painful to sit on the sacrum or tailbone when there's dysfunction like that. So here I took a blanket and I can balance on the blanket. And this makes it a little bit softer. Now, obviously, if you broke your tailbone, you're going to eliminate Navasana out of the position until you have healed. But once you are comfortable putting pressure on your pelvis, on your hips, on your sacrum, you can balance. And if you need a little cushion under your hips, that's totally fine. All right, so with that being said, I feel quite comfortable on full pressure on my hips. So one good way to start Navasana is to be able to bend your knees, bring your knees towards your chest. Navasana is easier, boat pose is easier when you have hamstring flexibility that allows you to at least sit in a 90-degree angle. 90 degree in relation to the legs and the spine. If my hamstrings are so tight that I'm pushed back and I try to go forward and I can't quite get forward, Navasana is quite tricky. And so one of the things that we're going to attempt to do in the beginning is see if you can bend your both knees and how close can you bring your chest towards your thighs. The deeper you can get your chest in towards your thighs is going to help kind of prepare your ability to practice Navasana in a fun way. It won't be so challenging. Now, the thing that typically happens, the first thing we try to do is to lean back so we can use the counterweight of the upper body to get our lower body to lift, our legs to lift. So the first thing to be able to do is see if you can sit on the floor with your legs in the air, arms in the air as well, not on the floor, and just practice holding the strength of your abdomen, squeezing strong, and your hip flexor, your psoas, nice and firm, to keep your body, only your hips touching, nothing else, no feet, no hands. Now, in the beginning, that might be really tricky. So you might want to lean back, perhaps even on your elbows, and just see if you can lift your legs. And you can start to strengthen your abdominal muscles through this exercise here, where you just work touching your heels to the floor and the ability to just kind of control this movement of flexion and hold the flexion. So this is a really good Navasana technique to start off with. Also, what I'm going to do instead of letting my back around, I'm going to attempt to kind of push the chest up like a fish pose and hold here. There is a pose in Ashtanga called Uttanappadasana, which is where we hold fish pose with our legs out. So it's kind of similar to this positioning. Now, with that being said, the next thing we can try to do is hold on to the knees, lift the feet, and then just take one arm away. And you could reverse and just practice using one arm at a time to help you hold your balance and to work your core. Another thing that we can work on is keep the knees bent, not use either arm straight, and just practice holding with bent knees. Now, usually what happens, see how I round? If I can get my spine nice and straight, but when I go to straighten my legs, usually what happens is the upper body starts to fall down as we get the legs up. So we see this little seesaw effect Or we might hold here, we can be here, but when we go straight, we come down. So in Navasana, we're trying to keep a pretty tight V shape with the body, about a 90-degree angle. Now, some of you might have back pain and you might need to avoid this specific movement until your back pain subsides. There's other exercises you can do. A really good back pain exercise that kind of mimics the work of the Navasana is to lie down on your back. Take your hands, place them underneath your lower back, and believe it or not, just lift your elbows a little and lift your head. That's it. Just try to get the strength on the front of your body, contracting and holding you up. And this action of lifting your elbows a little kind of takes your shoulders into a slight, what's called a protraction motion. And this is a really good way to strengthen your core on the front without doing a lot of like manipulative movement with your spine, because sometimes we got to practice really good spine hygiene and minimize the amount of movement that happens so that the body can heal. And then we can reintroduce these movements again if it seems appropriate. All right, so in Navasana, again, what we're trying to do, and one of the big questions is, am I better off holding my legs straight but dipping down low with my upper body, or should I bend my knees and try to sit up with my chest? I'm a fan of keeping the knees bent and working the ability to try to keep this feeling of real strong abdominal muscle contraction, lifting up the chest and kind of keeping your shoulders down and back. So this way we can really target strengthening the lower portion of the abdominal musculature. And so this is a really good, in Ashtanga yoga or in yoga in general, we have what are called bandhas. And there's a term called Uddiyana Bandha. And Uddiyana Bandha is this like contraction at the lower part of your abdomen. Boat pose does a really good job of helping us strengthen down low. If we lay down onto our backs and do boat pose, you're going to feel a little bit more contraction in the upper portion of your rectus abdominis. So one of the things we're attempting to do is bring the strength down into the navel area and to really work with the psoas muscle. Now, there is a transition in Ashtanga yoga where we do a lift in between each of the boat poses. And we do 5 boat poses for 5 breaths each. And then we do what's called lolasana, which is scale posture. And notice what I'm doing here is I'm taking my hands, I'm putting them beside my hips, I'm leaning my shoulders forward, I have my legs crossed on purpose, I have my knees up a little bit, you lean the body weight forward, you push down, and your hips come off of the ground. You lower your hips back down, you lean back, and then you come back into your boat pose and breathe and hold. So what this does is it really works your ability to kind of work your core and to keep the core engagement the entire time, building a really strong foundation for support for your spine and also to tone the abdominal wall. Also, there's a lot of benefits for the internal organs. Whenever you squeeze really strong like this, it creates a kind of massage effect for all the internal organs. So a big part of the primary series in Ashtanga Yoga is cleansing the gut. And we do a lot of this through the twisting work that we do and the compression work that we do. So boat pose is amazing posture. All right, so I hope this answers all your questions about the boat pose. If you have any other questions that you would like to ask, remember, leave a comment in the questions. Another thing you can add in the lolasana is to try to cross your legs, place your hands on the floor. Don't touch your feet. Lift up and float for an in-breath and then come down. That is way challenging though, so don't worry, don't let that frustrate you. One way that you can build up to that is as I take 2 blocks, I put them on either side of my hips and lean forward. And you can start to try to get that lift with your hands on a surface like a block to be able to build your strength for the lift. The tutorial that we're focusing on today is boat pose, but I wanted to include a little bit of the lolasana lift just to show you. All right. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Write me a question or comment. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. Boat pose, Navasana. Boat pose, Navasana.